Quite literally, the biggest Elimination Chamber event is live this Saturday, and as always, we're going to do our predictions for only 4 matches on the show. However, those 4 matches looking to be a good one. I think this is going to be a great show overall, and honestly, I'm fine with 4 matches. This show's on at 5 a.m. anyway, so like, if we can get a move on, that'd be great. But I'm pumped up, man, and of course, coming out of the Elimination Chamber, we are going to be able to finalize a couple of matches for WrestleMania 40. I want to talk about the Grayson Waller effect as well, and what might be coming out of that segment with Cody Rhodes and the World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins. Let's get into the predictions. Alright, so as I talked about, we have a Grayson Waller effect on this show with the Royal Rumble match winner Cody Rhodes as well as the World Heavyweight Champion Seth freaking Rollins. Now, I'm sure partially this is just on the show to get Grayson Waller out there, to get Cody and Seth out there, because obviously Rollins is going to be wrestling on this show, and there is a little bit of a, I don't want to say a lack of star power, because I mean, look at the chamber matches, they are pretty stacked up. Like no Roman on this show, Seth can't wrestle, he's still injured, Cody's not wrestling, Punk's injured, so like maybe they just wanted to throw him out there. That's definitely maybe partial of the reason why we're having this segment. But on top of that, I do think we may get a challenge by Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins to fight Roman Reigns and The Rock on WrestleMania Saturday. I'm back and forth on whether I think it's going to happen, then I'm like, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think we are going to get that match on WrestleMania Saturday, and then Rollins will still defend his World Championship on Sunday night, and of course we'll have Cody versus Roman main eventing Sunday as well. But as you saw on Monday Night Raw, McIntyre defeating Cody Rhodes, which we'll talk about later, with the help of Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. The numbers outweighing Cody Rhodes once again, and then we saw backstage Rollins approach him. No words were said. I do believe they have officially come together, and those 2 top stars will challenge The Rock and Roman Reigns to a match at WrestleMania Saturday, and they will throw out that challenge this Saturday at the Elimination Chamber in Perth, Australia. But let's get into the actual matches on this show. We have the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships on the line. The Judgment Day, Damian Priest and Finn Balor defending the titles against the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne and the big strong boy Tyler Bate. I am very excited for this matchup. I would say it's going to steal the show, but we have 2 Elimination Chamber matches that are absolutely loaded, so like hard to say what's going to be the match of the night, but this is going to be absolutely stellar. I am super pumped that Pete Dunne has returned to form over the last month. Tyler Bate finally up on the main roster as the last few months as well. Those 2 together, absolutely a match made in heaven, and hopefully one day they will win the tag team championships. Unfortunately, I just don't think that day is going to be this Saturday night. Let me say this. I do believe the Judgment Day will retain the World Tag Team Championships, the Undisputed Tag Team Championships, whatever you want to call them, this Saturday at the Elimination Chamber. And like I said, I think this is going to be one hell of a matchup. And as much as I want to see Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate have a run with the tag team titles, as much as I want to see Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa win the tag team titles, there's really only one team at this point that can beat the Judgment Day, and I think it is going to come at WrestleMania 40 when the Judgment Day lose those titles to Awesome Truth. I mean, listen to the crowd on Monday Night Raw this past week alone, man. You had all the Judgment Day minus Rhea Ripley out there in the 8-man tag team match with The Miz and DIY or DX, and who is the crowd cheering for? We Want Truth. Everybody on the R-Truth bandwagon. He got the hot tag. Anaheim exploded. As much as I might prefer one of these other teams to take down the Judgment Day, I can't knock the decision if WWE decides to have R-Truth and The Miz defeat the Judgment Day at WrestleMania for the tag team titles. That is what the story calls for. R-Truth is red hot right now. I can't argue it, man, and I doubt they'd have a super long reign as champions anyway, maybe a month or 2 and then drop them to whoever. And I will say this, hopefully after WrestleMania 40, and maybe this is just me, we get a split of those tag team titles. There is enough teams that can be that are already established, still can be put together. Teams from NXT between Raw and SmackDown. You can have 2 separate divisions again. I know it's a little off topic, but hopefully when we get through WrestleMania 40, we can get that split in the tag team division. But as for the Elimination Chamber, the Judgment Day to retain the tag team titles against Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, and I do believe they are on a collision course for WrestleMania 40 to be taken down by R-Truth and The Miz. Next up, we will talk about the Women's World Championship match, Rhea Ripley defending against Nia Jax. I'm going to tell you right now, this match I think is going to be better than some people might be expecting it to be. Nia has been, credit where credit's due, pretty solid on Monday Night Raw since she made her return back in the fall. Her and Becky Lynch at day one was a solid matchup, but I think this is probably going to be her second best, if not her best match ever since she has come back against Rhea Ripley at the Elimination Chamber. As good as it might be, though, Nia don't stand a chance in hell. This is Australia. This is Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley ain't losing that Women's World Championship at least until WrestleMania 40. And I still think there's a great chance Rhea walks out of WrestleMania as the Women's World Champion. Forget being the most popular star in the women's division. Rhea is one of the most popular stars in the entire company. And I don't think Nia Jax is going to be the one putting the expiration date on that championship reign. Gonna be a solid matchup. Hell, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see Rhea retain that title in front of her hometown crowd in Australia. But as for the result, like I said, Rhea to retain the Women's World Championship. She's bringing that title into WrestleMania, no questions asked. And from that match, we will move right into the Elimination Chamber match to determine the #1 contender for the Women's World title at WrestleMania. A absolutely stacked lineup as we got Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan, the returning Raquel Rodriguez, happy to see her back, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and Bianca Belair. I put this on Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, during Monday Night Raw. Last year's Elimination Chamber, the last year's Women's Elimination Chamber match, I should say, was, I think, the best we have gotten from the women inside that structure. However, this year, I do believe we'll top it. The field is stacked. There's multiple potential winners, some more than others, obviously, but a great lineup. I think these 6 are going to tear down the house this Saturday in Australia. But let's go by process of elimination, shall we? Tiffany Stratton, gonna be a champion one day, but it ain't gonna be at WrestleMania 40. So let's knock Tiffany Stratton out of here. Naomi, I would not be surprised to see her end up on the WrestleMania card, especially off of her return. You know, still pretty hot on television. Obviously, gonna be a big star continued forward in the women's division, but don't see her wrestling Rhea Ripley or Nia Jax, but like obviously it's going to be Rhea Ripley, so let's just call it as it is. Naomi not going to make her way to WrestleMania 40. That leaves us with 4. Raquel just came back on Raw, and Raquel in her promo on Raw was talking about Nia Jax, so maybe a little unfinished business there. I'm not sure the exact last time we saw Raquel before she went out for a few months. It might have been Crown Jewel, or maybe it was that Battle Royal. I think that Zoe Stark wanted to go to Survivor Series. Either way, Raquel and Nia could be something to look at down the line, but that's not going to happen at WrestleMania 40. So Raquel, I'm going to bounce her out of here. Bianca Belair. Bianca's WrestleMania spot is very interesting because she is legit one of those names in the women's division who I really don't see being left off WrestleMania. However, outside of a title match with Rhea Ripley, I think Bianca still has 2 possible options, and that's pairing her up with somebody, possibly a Naomi, since she's got a little bit of history there, meaning with Damage Control, and obviously Bianca's consistently had unfinished business with Damage Control, so maybe Bianca can team up with Naomi, go after the Women's Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania against Asuka and Kairi Sane, or Jade Cargill, I do believe, will have her singles debut at WrestleMania 40. And that tease in the Women's Royal Rumble was a hell of a tease between Jade and Bianca. And if Jade is going to wrestle at Mania 40, she's got 2 options for her opponents. That's either Nia Jax. Did I say Jade and Nia in the Rumble? That too, but I meant Jade and Bianca. But Jade has 2 options for WrestleMania 40, and that's Nia Jax or Bianca Belair. Obviously, Bianca is the more appealing match and would probably be the one who could get a better match out of Jade as well. I'm not putting too much confidence in Jade versus Nia, even though I'm sure we'll see it down the line. So since Bianca has other options for WrestleMania, I'm going to take her out of the field. Although I could very much see a world where we get Bianca versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. I mean, the 2 cover stars for 2K24 going at it. I could see that world. I could see that world. And I do believe we will get that one day, but just not at WrestleMania 40. So I'm going to take Bianca Belair out of the equation as well. And that leaves us with Liv Morgan and Becky Lynch. Another thing that I put on X during Monday Night Raw is I think Becky is the more obvious choice. But if you want just my personal opinion, like where I would go, I'd go Liv Morgan, man. I think Liv Morgan, built-in story there. I wouldn't mind seeing Liv versus Rhea at WrestleMania. Hell, you could even get Raquel in there with all that history and do Liv versus Rhea versus Raquel at WrestleMania 40. With that being said, though, as much as I would like to see Liv in that spot, as much as that would be the spot for her that I'd go at WrestleMania 40, like literally Becky Lynch said in her promo, Becky and Rhea have been done nothing but have face downs for a while. They've been kept apart for a while, and they've teased it a lot over the last couple of weeks. You know, they literally came face to face at the WrestleMania 40 press conference, and maybe that could just be to set us up for a huge swerve. Maybe Becky's going into a match with a Jade Cargill or something like that at WrestleMania. I don't know. But the most obvious match, and I can't argue with it, is Becky versus Rhea for the Women's World Championship. And I do think that is where we are heading for WrestleMania 40. So my prediction for the Women's Elimination Chamber match will be Becky Lynch. Look out for Liv Morgan, though. I would not be surprised to see her win this match, and I would be ecstatic if she did. But Becky definitely the top pick in my eyes to win the Women's Elimination Chamber. And last but not least, we have the Men's Elimination Chamber match to discuss. Winners going on to fight Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. I assume WrestleMania Sunday if Rollins does end up in that tag team matchup potential on Saturday night. But in this Elimination Chamber matchup, we have Randy Orton, LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens, and the United States Champion Logan Paul. Absolutely stacked lineup. Very interesting that we have 5 SmackDown superstars competing for a Raw championship opportunity. I'm going to assume these chamber matches were interpromotional this year for the reason that, like, they wanted to get some more star power on this show. Again, take out Roman, Cody, Seth, Punk of this show, outside of, you know, Rollins and Cody being in this segment. I'm assuming that was the reason why, but it doesn't really matter anyway. But just like the women, we will say process of elimination here. Bobby Lashley, as much as I would like to see him in a more prominent role, the dude has just been kind of in limbo, what feels like, for the last year. I mean, yeah, he won the Andre Battle Royal, turned heel, crowd turned him back face. He's feuding with, you know, the AOP and Cross right now. That's great, but, like, I don't know how many people really care that much. And as much as I'd like to see Lashley in a more prominent role, it's just not going to happen here. So Bobby Lashley, we're ixnaying him from this Elimination Chamber matchup. Kevin Owens and Logan Paul, I do believe they're on their way to having a Royal Rumble rematch at WrestleMania. There is unfinished business there, and I don't think is going to be finished inside the Elimination Chamber. If anything, I could see Kevin Owens eliminating Logan Paul from the matchup, and when Kevin Owens inevitably loses, post-Elimination Chamber, Logan Paul can be pissed that Owens eliminated him, and Owens can bring up the fact that he pinned the United States Champion, and bing, bang, boom, we are done setting up that matchup. They can have their U.S. title rematch at WrestleMania 40, where I do believe Kevin Owens will win the United States Championship. And if you referenced to my video yesterday, which I'll link up to the cards, Sami Zayn versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, Owens and Zayn could be each holding singles gold at the end of WrestleMania 40. Then we look towards LA Knight, a guy I think a lot of people thought he would be in either the United States title picture or maybe even the world title picture come WrestleMania 40. LA Knight's going to end up on that card. I just don't think he's going to be competing for any championships. I think he's honestly going to wrestle AJ Styles or maybe even one of the other guys who we're about to talk about, but it's just going to be just a singles match at WrestleMania. You know, for a while, I was even calling for it, LA Knight and Logan Paul for the United States title at WrestleMania, but I think they're going the Kevin Owens route, which I'm fine with, and really, you can't just interrupt some of these other storylines just to be like, oh, let's just get LA Knight in a championship match. It's not the year for it. It's not the time. LA Knight, as popular as he is, gonna end up in one of those singles matches at WrestleMania, either against AJ Styles or against Randy Orton. Randy Orton, I think, is the dark horse to win this thing. However, I really don't see it. Like, I would love to see Orton versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. If they went that route, I'd be down, and I'd be pulling for Randy Orton to get one more run as the World Heavyweight Champion, and maybe he'll get multiple more runs as champions. Remains to be seen. I just don't think it's the time. Drew McIntyre literally just pinned Cody Rhodes on Monday Night Raw. The second guy to defeat Cody Rhodes since Cody's return 2 years ago. McIntyre is doing some of the best work of his career. He is red hot, and they did not hand him specifically that victory on Raw for no reason. McIntyre needs to win this matchup, needs to fight Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. It'll be even better for McIntyre's like overall character and storyline if Rollins wrestles the night before and McIntyre just picks apart the previous injuries of Rollins that he wasn't willing to pick apart back at Crown Jewel, plays into the storyline. McIntyre needs to defeat Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 40. It's 1,000% the way I would go at this point. We talked about the Sami Zayn stuff numerous times here on the channel, and again, as I said in yesterday's video, Zayn versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship is the way to go for WrestleMania 40. Going back to the Randy Orton stuff, I'd love to see it. Just not the time right now. It's McIntyre's time. Orton versus LA Knight, possibly at WrestleMania, or LA Knight versus AJ Styles. Remains to be seen what some of those undercard matches will be. But as for Drew McIntyre, as for the World Heavyweight Championship, those two things need to be paired together on WrestleMania Sunday or Saturday, whenever it happens. And Drew McIntyre needs to win the Elimination Chamber and win the World Heavyweight Championship at the biggest show of the year. But that is going to do it for my Elimination Chamber predictions, guys. Leave your thoughts and predictions down below in the comments. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe on your way out. And go follow me across all social medias at Noah Nation Vlogs. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.